Alright, let's be honest here. I'm making this video because I love the Council of Elrond scene in Peter Jackson's Fellowship of the Ring. But hey, maybe this way you'll get something out of it too. No promises though. There also shouldn't be a need to say this, but I'll be good this time. Spoilers ahead. If there is one thing the Lord of the Rings cinematic trilogy and its Hobbit counterpart have in common, it's not an incredibly told story, with an interesting cast of characters, tense conflicts, and great payoffs. No. What they do have in common, aside from this guy and a few other characters that pop in The Hobbit like a teenager does a pimple, is a reluctant hero. I can't believe I'm saying this, but both trilogies get this right. That said, we don't speak of The Hobbit here, so we'll focus on Frodo for this video instead. And to be clear, that is movie Frodo, not book Frodo. The definition of the reluctant protagonist is in the name. It is the character which wants no part in the events of the plot, but finds itself swept up by it anyway. This means that their goals and motivations are not in line with those of the story, and so, as a writer, you find yourself facing the issue of having a protagonist that does not want to be a part of your story, and would much rather sit down and have a pint. They can't. With this comes the risk of playing God mode and forcing the protagonist's hand, which can pull the reader out of the story as the character they were forming an attachment to reveals themselves as someone else or betrays the implicit promise of who they would be. Character inconsistencies are easier to accept in real life than they are in fiction. Considering this could get your audience to stand up and leave, why would you actually do it? The reason why you would want to do it, why you would want to risk it, is because by having a protagonist that starts the story living a simple, unassuming life.
Before you came along, we Bagginses were very well thought of.
Indeed.
Never had any adventures or did anything unexpected.
You don't just make it relatable to 99% of people minus Tom Cruise, you also fulfill their fantasy. And no, I'm not talking about Freud here, not everything is about that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be starting a channel on this site, now would I? No, that fantasy that I'm speaking of is realized when the character is introduced to the inciting incident and thrown by it from an ordinary life to an extraordinary one. Think Walter Mitty. How many of you daydreamed of having superpowers when you were stuck doing that stupid biology assignment back in school? I was the Avatar. Another benefit of the reluctant hero relates back to conflict. It is no secret that there is no story without it, and conflict can come from various different sources. From the setting, where the story takes place, like its climate, its wildlife, its cultures or magics. From the plot, it being the narrative's objective, which could be a heist, revenge, survival, destroying the Ring of Power. Or it can come from within the characters, their dreams, aspirations and doubts, i.e. what they want. When it comes to the reluctant protagonist, we're looking primarily at a conflict within the individual character, one which puts it at odds with the plot's objective. Meaning that in this case, these would have to be different. If the plot wants the One Ring thrown into Mount Doom and the protagonist has always dreamt about lounging in a hot tub full of magma, then, well, what are we waiting for? That was oddly specific, but you get the point. Like many other protagonists, that is not Frodo's case. He has no desire to venture thousands of miles away from his home. He has no wish to battle orcs or even to have the ring. What Frodo wants is to continue his life happy and peaceful and safe in the Shire.
I think in his heart Frodo's still in love with the Shire. The woods, the fields, little rivers.
Naturally, the story can't let that happen or there would be no story. Stories equal psychos. So, after his uncle Bilbo departs on his next adventure and leaves him the ring, nothing happens. Literally nothing when it comes to Frodo. In the movies, Gandalf goes out for a scene and scrutinizes the writings of some old bugger out there in Minas Tirith, while in the books 17 years go by without much happening. The reason is that Frodo doesn't want anything happening. The Shire is what he wants. It will be easy for viewers to lose interest at this point, since there is little tension outside of Gandalf's suspicions about the ring. What keeps the audience engaged in this case is the prologue to the movie, which explains what the ring is, so that we know what the characters don't, so that we see the threat they can't. Gandalf comes back, and with him comes the revelation that the ring is no ordinary trinket, but is actually the soul of an incredibly powerful demigod, kind of, who wants to rule the world. His name is Sauron, and his minions are coming for the ring. If they could have just read the title of the movie. Anyway, character motivation should always be at the forefront of what they do. So if Frodo wants to continue living in the Shire, his solution to the problem of the ring being dangerous should reflect that. Fittingly, his first idea is to hide the ring. That way he does not have to go anywhere. However, Gandalf explains it would be too much of a risk, now that the ring has been discovered and itself seeks its master. So Frodo then offers it to Gandalf. He could keep it safe, the wise and powerful wizard that he is, and Frodo could stay home with his friends. But Gandalf can't take it, or he would be too cool for school, and that Galadriel romance from The Hobbit would probably be a thing. Gandalf is no fun. No, Frodo's first ideas offer no solutions. The plot is forcing its way in between him and his desires, so he can't have what he wants. Frodo closes his hand over the ring and turns to Gandalf.
What must I do?
Getting rid of the ring is what Frodo needs. And what you need as an author is to come up with the right excuses to force your protagonist to play along without changing who they are. Note how this is not a portrayal of the character we have been introduced to, because the plot has explained itself through Gandalf so that both we, the viewers, and Frodo understand that if he wants to continue living in the Shire, the ring cannot stay there with him. Because if it does, the Shire could be destroyed, and if it is, Frodo can no longer have what he wants. Besides, who else is there to carry it? Frodo accepts Gandalf's plan to smuggle the ring away and meet him further down the path so they can both take it somewhere more secure. At least this way, the Shire will be safe. A lot happens before Frodo meets Gandalf again in Rivendell, but when he does, and as far as the Hobbit is concerned, he is done with the ring. He accomplished what he set out to do. He got the ring away from the Shire and into a place where it could be safe. His task is done and he is ready to return to the life he had, the life he wants. He is ready to go home. The story, of course, has other plans. The power of the enemy is rising, and Elrond no longer has the ability to keep the ring safe in Rivendell. He is not willing to offer any solutions to help with the end of the world because the elves are going, fuck this shit, I'm out, which is really not that helpful when you think about it. Still, the Council of Elrond is one of my favourite scenes and a point of no return for Frodo. Yes, his journey started an hour and a half ago, but his quest is only beginning. The council reveals to him that the ring would not be safe in Rivendell, that the only choice they have is to destroy it, which has to be done in Mount Doom, because what could be more foreboding than that? Hey son, you want to go visit the Mountains of Madness and Eternal Suffering, 20 miles down 52? Sure Dad, where did you park the car? Oh, by the chasm of chronic depression, can't miss it. And don't forget your coat. Anyway, after some smooth introductions, characterization and a little rising of the stakes, as if Mount Doom wasn't enough, the council fails to reach a decision as to who should take the ring into Mordor, seeing as any of them could be corrupted by the will of Sauron and therefore none of them can be trusted with the ring. Frodo has been sitting quietly all this time. We have seen him accept the responsibility of the ring, seen him struggle against it when it tried to take control, and we have seen him succeed in that struggle several times. These victories, however, have taken their toll, as there is now a connection between him and the ring made evident when Gimli smashes his axe against it and Frodo flinches like the blade bit into his own skin. The council erupts in shouts and threats, accusations and insults, even the E word. All alone, without even touching the ring, the races of Middle-earth squabble amongst themselves, none fit to carry it, and all at the mercy of the enemy, at risk of destruction, including the Shire. Amidst Gandalf's frustrations and Elrond's PTSD, Frodo steps up once again. I will take it, he says, putting aside his desire to return home and leave all this danger behind. I will take it, he says, knowing that the Shire will have to wait, knowing that it is the only way to keep it safe.
I will take the ring to Mordor.
As all those people more powerful than him grow silent and stare. He will take the ring to Mordor, because he has to, because no one else can, because who else is there to carry it? At least this way, the Shire will be safe. It is a shame then that for a protagonist to become a hero, there has to be a sacrifice. It is a shame then that Frodo's must be this.
We set out to save the Shire, Sam. And it has been saved.